It feels good to be back here on Breakfast Central on a wet Tuesday morning. And it's a very, very interesting one, we could say, with so many things happening from one place to the other, especially in Nigeria. You could also say that if you've not been following the stories, well, don't worry. We have every single information for you. But do us a favor, follow us on all socials and link up with us on socials as well to get the latest, and drop a comment or two as we're streaming live on YouTube. My name is Joe Hansen.
You're welcome to Breakfast Central on this very wet Tuesday morning. It was a wet Monday, and I guess the weather forecast still says scattered showers, especially around the city of aquatic splendor, Lagos State. You're welcome to Breakfast Central. So many things to unpack today on the show, so you don't want to miss it. Sit back, relax, and welcome aboard.
Right, and you are welcome to Breakfast Central. We're taking your comments on YouTube. We're streaming live on YouTube, so please do well to be a part of the show by dropping your comments there. And also, we open the phone lines when we're reviewing the papers. When we open the phone lines, call us and let us know what your thoughts are on any of the stories we're looking at. Hello, gentlemen.
All of you looking very Mary Poppins like this morning.
Thanks so much.
With your
Thank
glasses.
you so much.
You're looking very scholarly and academic.
I am
Are you planning
scholarly.
to do another wag?
Well, if it will be CBT, then I would consider it. So maybe I can now finally pursue my dream of being a medical
further
doctor.
education in terms of master's, PhD, or you rather go for professional courses that, I mean, impactful courses?
The desire of my heart, and that's a secret desire to go back and study medicine.
Ah.
But I don't really, my
You need to
mind's
look at your
telling me
age.
no, but my body is telling
Yeah,
me
and then
yes.
the finances, the stress.
It's
I
not
mean,
even just the finances.
It's a lot.
There's finances, but there's also the stress
Time.
of actually
And-
reading.
Yeah,
Time.
time.
Doctors read so much. It's why when every market day, they're striking, because it doesn't feel like they're getting returns for all the effort that they put into studying to be able to, you know, to get their certifications. And every other year, they're writing one exam or another.
What you guys caught in traffic yesterday?
Yesterday was a tough one. Coincidentally, I happened to be on the island before the third mainland bridge
Was shut.
You know, Oworoshoki link third
Was
mainland
blocked,
bridge
rather.
was blocked, and I think that really starts our very first story on Wake Up Conversations. If you're just tuning in, welcome. Well, yesterday we heard that some people got home in the wee hours of the night, and some still haven't gotten themselves up until now, because if you got home around 12, 1 a.m., then you might just want to drop a little text message to your boss telling him that you'll be taking today off. Hopefully, they agree. But that's because there was a demolition. A very big conversation ensued online concerning what took place yesterday. Now, many have attacked, in quotes, through their conversations on X, on social media, everywhere. Netizens, Nigerians are saying that the government has picked the wrong time to have done this. It should have been a time where, you know, they would have been given enough notification in terms of time to prepare themselves and let them know that this demolition will take place pretty soon. But it didn't seem that way, and everyone is... Anyway, you know what? Don't take my words for it. Let's just take a look at some of the videos that we do have concerning the demolition that took place at Oworoshoki yesterday.
everybody. It was on radio, it was on Yoruba, it was on Wazobia. For almost 1 year, people didn't show up. It's only one building here that got approval. Only one. They came and marked. Some of you will believe them. They are government officials and some of us paid our money to go to school. We are not dogs. We are not agents of destruction. But we want development. If we have to do development, some people are going to be affected. And because they don't want it to affect you, they told you, they gave you enough time. Over 3 years, 2 years later, a year, months. They were here even about 2-3 weeks ago. None of you went, you are still carrying a survey plan. Anybody can take survey plan. Any non-entity can take survey plan. I can take survey plan that doesn't belong to me. That doesn't belong to me. Why don't we do the right thing? Now they are removing. Everybody is there now. It's not government. You send this and send it to the NGO people. They use you and collect money on you. They are not doing any help for you. Is this how their country is? If this is how their country is, why?
So that was a drama yesterday. Residents of the Lekki Oworoshoki axis were told to evacuate. According to what we heard there, they were given adequate notice. But they protested and said that the notice was not enough, that they should have been given more time, and therefore they decided to hit the bridge, walk, block, do all they could yesterday until later on, where the police had to find a way to disperse the crowd and restore order so that commuters can actually find their way home. But that's the latest story. We've seen a series of demolitions across Lagos State, and the question simply remains, is this the right time for it? We also did see the commissioner who made clear in terms that the residents were given adequate time. There were radio adverts, there were mentions, they were being told they had to evacuate that particular area. But in all of this, guys, regardless of what has happened, my point is, so all the buildings there, who gave them the approval?
In the first place.
Who gave them the approval? Who certified that as residents, as homeowners, you therefore can have your property built here? These are the documents.
Were they paying land use charges?
They were.
Were they paying
Many
taxes?
of them said they were.
Wow.
So again, I agree with you. How did they get there in the first place? And I think that's how we need to tighten our processes to ensure that we don't cause maximum damage to Nigerians. When you come about with the demolition, you may have the best reason. It may be because you want to do flood control, or you want to, you can
urban renewal.
Urban renewal, regional planning, for whatever reasons you have, right? However, it must not be at the detriment of the average Nigerian. And to prevent situations like this from happening, what must be done is we must tighten our housing planning. We must tighten the controls. Ensure that the giving of notice is done the right way, and that there's some sort of system that ensures monitoring while the building is ongoing. Because a plan was gotten. These buildings were erected. They've been there for a long time. Millions. Money's lost, people displaced. All of a sudden, these people have become internally displaced persons, not because of insecurity or anything, but because the government has kicked them out of their abode. There's also the video of that woman. I think her name is Mommy Glee. Look at the gorgeous house she had before. Look at what it was before. This is where she lived. And from this, it then metamorphosed into a pile of rubble because of the demolition. These are real people that have lives. Whilst I completely agree that the government must do what it needs to do in terms of improving the quality of our buildings, our structures, ensuring that there is urban planning, but it should not be at the detriment of everyday Nigerian. Look at that house was before, this is the after.
It's quite
it's sad.
sad, and things should be done with the human face, and also transparency. in dealing, because there are different stories that have been bandied around. And ideally, it will be nice if you can get officials of the Lagos State Building Control Agency to
come
tell
and
their
explain
side
what happened.
of the story and the reasons for these evictions in the first place.
And there are people that, you know, the houses here aren't just about fancy houses, or the people whose legacy, whose families, that would be the homes they grew up in.
Yeah.
You know, there's history
parents
tied
had
to a
built
number of these properties. Unfortunately, history that is lost.
It's
People
gone.
standing there looking at what their fathers and their fathers' fathers have worked for all come to ruins. Why? Because there's a demolition, there's an order. It's really sad. I saw the address that was given by the Permanent Secretary of the Lagos State Ministry of Urban Development, Gbenga, Oki, when he was addressing them and telling them that they've had enough time. And they
we did see that circular there, that notice there. It read on the 12th of May, and many have said that it came way back, and he's also corroborating that release, that statement, that clarity to the people, the residents, and letting them know that, listen, you had enough time to have moved. But in all of this, we know that Lagos State is faced with a very chaotic situation in terms of its population. Do we have enough housing for people who live in Lagos? That's a different conversation many would want to have. Also, the houses that are available, are they affordable? Because everyone who has been evicted from this accommodation, and why did they choose to do it at midnight? It's usually done at midnight. And it rained yesterday as well. So people are at a state where currently, if you find yourself in that situation,
very vulnerable.
You are very vulnerable. You are at your lowest ebb. You do not know where to go to again, and you do not know what to do at this point. So you couldn't have blamed them from hopping on the streets, the express, and protesting. But then again, we must also not allow ourselves to take laws into our hands, because notifications were given earlier on.
But I've seen some reports, and I don't know, I'm hoping that we can get that. There are people who have claimed that the manner in which this was done, beyond it being done at night, someone on X had shared a personal experience of a loved one who said they were tear gassed.
Oh yes. That was done when they were told to leave.
You know? So at the end of the day, it's important for a state to involve itself in regional planning, urban planning, but development must have the face of humanity. You cannot do development at the detriment of Lagosians, at the detriment of Nigerians. These people, for no doing of theirs, will become internally displaced persons. Development must have a human face.
Where would they go to? Especially we're looking at the cost of house rent. So for me, it's basically two things. One, I think the timing. The timing is not favorable at all. And many would say, okay, even if they decided to postpone, it would still not be favorable. But in this case, I think it's not favorable because, one, we know what the cost of renting an accommodation simply is now, especially with the current state of the economy. It's really bad. So another thing is, could there have been sensitization process where the government would have come to visit them over a period of 3 months to inform them that we're going to demolish you, everybody gather around, let's tell you why and how. I think maybe that could have been and they could have recorded that, put it on video and camera, let them know that we did this. But this is my main grounds with all of these things that are happening, Gbenga and Olive. My ground simply is this: who are the Lagos State officials who approved these buildings? Whether it is 6 years ago, whether it is during former Governor Fashola's time, who are they?
20 years ago.
Or 20 years ago. Who are they? Okay, even if they no longer work in the ministry, can the ministry see that, whether they like it or not, they've also been culpable in ensuring that they had granted people permits to build their houses, and therefore they're now coming back 20 years later? And this is the reason why when you see headlines that says investor confidence is back, you start to wonder, when an investor sees videos like these, is he really going to have the confidence to say, okay, I'm coming back?
Even ordinary Nigerians are very skeptical about investing
I'm one
in
of
real
them.
estate.
I'm one of them.
Anything could happen.
I'm one of them.
And just looking at documents doesn't guarantee its authenticity, because things happen, and we can see what's happening here. Imagine if you had an investment in the Oworoshoki area so many years ago, and this is happening. They'll show you survey plan, this approval, and all of that. You see people living in the neighborhood, you think everything is fine, and then one day in the middle of the night, they tell you have to pack your things.
After you must have invested
Remember the
close
same
to
thing
almost-
happened last year in Maryland, where there are a number of people who went to bed and woke up in the morning. I remember Isabella, TV personality Isabella Kinsheye. She was here as a guest on the show to detail her own account. Like she was barely rushing to pick up her things because they were demolishing. People were in their buildings screaming. It was a sorry sight. They made a lot of noise. Nothing happened about it. Everybody moved on to the next story. Again, development is important, but development must have a human face. We cannot make Lagos a mega city at the detriment of the everyday innocent Nigerians. And we cannot turn Nigerians into internally displaced persons. And this is them becoming IDPs not because of war or certain other issues or natural disasters. This feels like a man-made disaster. That's what it feels like.
Anyway, if you just tuned in, this is Breakfast Central, and we're hoping that maybe very soon they'll be able to get some form of soccer as well. Let's take reactions.
Of course, let's see what Nigerians are saying about the Oworoshoki demolition. And now on X, what Nigerians are saying. Omoyele Showori says, the people of Oworoshoki, whose ancestral homes are being destroyed by Jide Sanwo-Olu's demolition squad, are rising against their oppressors on the Lagos mainland. The Lagos state government has never been interested in building homes for the poor, only in demolishing their homes so the rich can steal more land. Hashtag revolution now. The next tweet, Africa, okay, this one says, the ongoing demolition in Lagos state since this administration is not just about development. It's about people losing their ancestral homes and dignity. Once again, Lagos state is pushing out the poor without any plan to house them, while the rich circle in to grab the land. Let's get it straight. Development is necessary, yes, but true progress does not come from bulldozers and evictions. It comes from inclusive planning, affordable housing, and respect for human lives. What we're seeing is not urban renewal, it's urban displacement, and it deepens the inequality that already threatens Lagos's future. Very well said, Tijas Kid. Oworo land belongs to Lagos indigenes named Awori. Is one of their settlements over 500 years ago. There is no way the state government will demolish legal houses without proper notice, relocation, and compensation. Anyone that builds close to waterfront should be ready to move anytime as development changes plans. So who gave the plan, the permits for them to build in waterfront?
Some of them have been from...
All right, this person says, this is my community. I was present at the demolition. I did my findings, and I found out they had been told to move since last year.
There you go.
They ignored the message. In fact, some agents still collected new payment from new tenants, knowing fully well they have been told to vacate. Okay. Thank you, Idon of Lagos. The blog, Prince Blog says, they're not just protesting, they're fighting for their right to exist in a city that seems to value luxury developments over human lives. This isn't just about homes. It's about the heart of the community being ripped apart. Will Lagos listen, or will it continue to prioritize profit over people?
Food for thought.
A lot.
So I think what then we need to do is find out how can we safeguard against repeat occurrences of incidences like this? Because like we've said, the agents that will take advantage of this will always still take advantage of this. They will still sell properties to people. They will still tell you it has good title, good CFO, this and that. How do we then safeguard against, things like this happening? And I think that's a conversation we need to have.
How do you do due diligence?
I mean, personally, I think I have the solution to this. I'll be honest. Lagos State currently should invest in, Lagos State boasts of being at the forefront of technology. This is where they need to show it. So this is where you have a website that actually works, where people can get updates. If anybody tells you, oh, there's a property here, the website should be accessible, easy, and gives you direct link. There should be hotlines, because property is the biggest thing selling now in Lagos State.
They're currently regulating the...
yes, of course, the rent, landlord, tenancy laws, rules, and all that.
And apart from that, property developers, they have a list, and they published the list the other day.
But Gbenga, this is my fear. Should Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu leave office with the commissioners who have worked tirelessly to ensure they bring sanity, how are you certain that the next set of individuals who will come in?
And that's why you have civil servants and permanent
continuity.
Yeah.
When former Governor Ambode was fixing bus stops, trying to take away downfall from the road, We all thought there would be continuity. What's happening now? So it's sad, to be honest. I don't think it's... Anyway, let's move away from that story to another one. This time it's another interesting one. I'm sure Olive and Gbenga will like this one. The FCT police is warning residents, if you live in the Federal Capital Territory, you're being warned not to bribe traffic officers.
Or induce.
Yes, or induce, or give them something.
So what is a bribe?
Good question. Bribe is,
actually Google that.
let me just do turn here, I beg, no vex. All this one.
So
that's bribe.
What is a bribe?
No, I've told you.
No,
we have a lawyer.
I need to define it.
In the
A
studio.
bribe is something of value that is offered, given, received, or solicited with the intent to influence the actions or decisions of a person in a position of trust, power, or authority. So I'm driving and I see a police officer under the sun, knowing that every day I'm talking about how they don't have adequate welfare and they're not being properly paid. And out of the goodness of my heart, I decide to give him 1,000 naira to buy a bottle of water. Of course, I mean, it's not like I have everything sorted. My papers are okay. I'm not doing that because I don't want him to check me. And he says, oh, Auntie, anything for the boys. And I say, oh, yeah, take. Does that constitute bribe?
No.
Well,
That's
according
not
to the FCT minister, you shouldn't even give them money. Yes. FCT Commissioner of Police, I beg your pardon.
So the tweet says it is unlawful to give our officers money or any form of inducement while they are performing their duty. Let them discharge their responsibilities diligently without interference. So
You're interfering with that 1,000 naira.
The Nigeria Police Force is committed to serving you with integrity. Your cooperation is vital. Together, we can build a safer society. If you witness any unprofessional act by our officers, please report immediately via our CRU 0810-7314-192, or you can call the FCT Police Emergency 080-3200-3913.
Yeah, this is the level of professionalism that we aspire to see the Nigerian police in. And I wish all police commands, apart from the FCT, will adopt this state of mind.
Remember this our guy.
Remember this guy.
This level of professionalism.
Do you remember this our guy? That collected money and his guy said, yeah, return it. Is he not the one?
No, it's not.
No, this
Not
one
the
is the one that said, where are they going? That that they need money for fuel, So does this mean that
all these things need to stop? We need a professional police that is going to protect and serve the Nigerian people. And Nigerians also, you've listened to the Commissioner of Police in the FCT. They're not beggars. They're discharging their constitutional duties and they earn a living.
So don't distract them with money.
So don't distract them with money and
I
don't
like
offer
it.
money.
I like it.
Yes, because nobody is offering. The typist, the receptionist that is working in our office. Do Nigerians go to their office and
exactly? And I like it.
And their road. Look, the drain docks in Lagos State. The people that clear the drainage. How many times have you stopped by to offer them something? The women that clean sweep the roads every day. How many? Is it because they're not carrying weapons? Why don't we stop by and also encourage them that please buy water?
Gbenga, I love this.
It's a job.
I think the CP of Lagos State should emulate as well.
CP of Lagos State, Zamfara State, all the 36 state commands.
Don't disturb policemen.
Don't let them
do
do their job.
I was about to crack a dry joke.
Don't disturb them. But what if a police officer comes to you like this one?
Did this young man not know he was?
So I understand
No,
completely what the FCT Police Command is trying to achieve, and in a sense, I agree with it. They're trying to bring some sort of decorum, respect, and dignity back to the Nigerian police, where the Nigerian police is not seen as a beggarly profession. It's a respected profession where, these are individuals in uniforms, and when you see a uniformed person, there's a certain regard that comes with being a uniformed person. When you go abroad, if you go to London,
and
you see the British police, you see them, there's just this aura, the way they carry themselves.
And dignity.
Exactly.
You're even talking of London, go to Ghana.
Exactly.
Very
that
well dressed.
That
sharp.
finesse that surrounds, should surround that uniform. There's a certain authority that uniform should wield. And I think that's what the FCT Police Command is trying to restore. I love this. And I agree with it.
It's not the only uniform profession. Do you see NSCDC, or maybe because we interact with them most, do you see Nigerian Army, Air Force, NSCDC, Fire Service, Civil Defense going around and extorting people?
Anyway, let's take reactions quickly. Let's see what Nigerians are saying. And this is what they're saying on social media. Netizens are saying, there are some words you use up there. Diligently, correctly used, integrity. Shame
Yeah, you
you
didn't
minus
minus
me.
me.
I mean, integrity could mean
I don't
aspire, and
It's aspirational.
exactly,
Okay.
aspiration.
Oga, you guys should sit this one out. Your institution is incapable of controlling bribes that your men collect. You guys should set examples by conducting some recorded sports checks and punishing the culprits, but first, prove that police officers are well paid and catered for. This is a balance, and I like it. The end part says, take care of them, and then this message would fly. Akinwale says, I don't think any right-thinking Nigerian have issues with your submission, but the problem therein is your officers. They go beg stylishly, and eventually, forcefully, to justify the begging. They will auto-generate
Auto-generate.
I'm done.
ChatGPT, please
Gbenga, I'm
give me
done.
an
Please go ahead.
offense.
This is not auto-generate offense. What is that?
Where's the...
Adepit says, or Adepite says, but this number is too long. If one is held at gunpoint, I suggest it should be like we have it in other advanced countries, just 3 digits. It can easily be dialed without courting the attention of another person. That's true. You could dial at least maybe 114, 115, and then you're good.
It's held at gunpoint. I didn't know the Nigerian police move around with super glue or gum.
Nobody wants to give your officers any penny. They're greedy, covetous, and always demanding directly or indirectly, Oga, we could drink water. Anything for us. At all, nine bad pass. So improve their welfare and take care of their core needs. Maybe they will stop doing Bambiala.
This guy knows their nomenclature. The only thing missing there is do weekend for us.
Do weekend for us now. Make your boy
happy.
Make we smile small.
Or make we drink water.
Anyway, that's all we're going to take on the reactions, and a very interesting conversations here, Wake Up Conversation, by the way.
On a serious note, I don't know if the IG has the powers to totally reform. It might, things come from the presidency and the willpower to execute. We need a complete overhaul. The bad press the Nigerian police is getting.
Will the state police make it better?
Every other week. I don't even want to get into that because I don't think...
if it's state policing, it means that although there still be
there
under
might
the
even
umbrella
still be some sort of rivalry between
Yes.
state police and then the federal police.
Who is properly better taken care of.
Exactly.
Who seems to have more authority.
And then jurisdiction first to get to a crime scene, things like that. Look, they need to really iron out the blueprint for the state police. We can't just say, okay, because we're dealing with insecurity, you throw out, or else you'll be used as a private militia by some of these governors, and it would lead to, they need to, what's the word? They need to iron out,
highlight, yeah.
Yes, and work out all
the modalities.
Scenarios and modalities before we adopt
But I would
policing.
applaud them, all those who are dragging them. I say in Nigeria, you do, you are damned. You don't, you are damned. So when we see them making an effort to clean up the police, it's not to say, oh, there's nothing good that you people can do. You can't control this.
Have a sense
At
of
least
hopelessness.
they're doing something. We don't have we don't have a sense of hopelessness. We applaud them for making, such bold statements and taking steps to ensure that they can restore sanity to Nigeria's police force.
Well, I think that's all we're going to take on Wake Up Conversations this morning.
And this last one was a good
very interesting conversation.
Yeah.
Do you want to touch on
the
it?
debt profile. Yes, I mean, the Speaker of the House of Representatives has said, look, our level of borrowing, is this sustainable? And he's saying, this is what he said, Honorable Tajuddin Abbas. It says public debt a tool for growth, not a burden at the opening. Anyway, let's just, because of time, you get the gist of the matter. He's saying, look, is this sustainable? But the big...
But then he's come out to now say, his spokesperson has come out to say that, he's not criticizing, that he's not denying, that he has condemned government's borrowing. That it's not like he's condemning government's borrowing. That what he's saying is that public debt, if managed prudently, can be a tool for public growth and prosperity.
It's just an advice. Because I was going to say, aren't they the ones that approved this borrowings in the first place? And yesterday, Senator Dino Melaya, in an interview, said, the level at which the government is borrowing,
they also borrow from some
from
people.
OK and Money Point.
Oh my God.
On that note, I guess we'll wrap up. Wake Up Conversations.
Sure. Let's bring to you what our top stories are today here on Breakfast Central. Today on Breakfast Central, Pengasin backs Nupeng's threat to halt operations at Dangote Refinery. We'll have that conversation here. And we'll look at State of the Nation. Stakeholders call for overhaul of INEC. And not forgetting to look at the other issues affecting Nigeria's economy. Plus, like we rightly said, electoral reform is on the front burner as well. We'll also look into this one, a WAPAC Economic Forum. Very interesting event and conversation to look into as well. Plus, you can be part of the newspaper front pages by calling in. So stay with us for 3 hours as we begin.
The Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, Pengasan, has thrown its full weight behind Nupeng, threatening to shut down operations at the Dangote Refinery over alleged anti-labor practices and union suppression. Recall that Nupeng had declared its intention to stop loading fuel today over allegations, or rather yesterday, that the Dangote Refinery planned to ban the drivers recruited for its 4,000 trucks from joining the union.
In a statement released on Monday, the association's General Secretary, Lumumba Okugbawa Pengasin, warned it may be forced to take drastic action if the matter remains unresolved. Well, joining us for this discussion is General Secretary Pengasin, Comrade Lumumba Okugbawa, who joins us live in the studio. Good morning and thanks for being here.
Thank you very much.
Good morning. Thanks for joining us, Comrade.
Thank you.
My first question is a no-brainer. Why do you think Dangote is refusing its recruited drivers from joining the union? Is there a hidden truth that Nigerians need to know? Or is there something that's making him do that? Or the company, rather?
Yeah, thank you very much. Let me go back to history a little bit. You know, the 4 refineries that we have, even if they are producing at full capacity, you know, they will not be able to meet the demands of Nigerians as at then. And a lot of things were attributed to it, smuggling and all. But we called for increased participation, at least private individuals should come in and government gave licenses to about 19 individuals to establish refineries. But most of them were dragging their feet because to them the prices are too low and they cannot meet up according to them. And so we welcome people like Dangote Refinery coming up. And if you look at the capacity of Dangote Refinery, about 650,000 barrels per day refinery, which is bigger than the 4 refineries combined, because the 4 refineries, they produce at maximum capacities 445,000 barrels per day. That's what they can do. So we welcome them. And then the challenge we have, especially, I'm sorry to say, with our local investors, is that the cultural issue of I'm your senior or I'm your this, don't challenge me since I employed you, is there. We don't have most of these issues with IOCs and all, you know. And the laws of the land are very clear. That workers deserve, each worker deserves his wages, fair wage. So they believe that, to our own concern, that if you are unionized, if you are organized, you will ask for more money, you ask for better condition of service. And as a full capitalist, they want to maximize profit. That is the first rule of a capitalist, maximize profit. And if it involves sacrificing the worker, so be it. And this we totally condemn.
Okay, so have Dangote drivers, the workers, have they ever been part of a union? Or is it because of the fresh drivers that are about to be employed, you know, them asking them not to sign a part of, or to sign an undertaking not to be part of the union? Have they ever been, the Dangote drivers ever been a part of the union?
Dangote has never had a union. When they came, as I told you, we welcomed them. In fact, we paid courtesy call to Dangote Refinery to, you know, to appreciate his involvement in solving, at least trying to help solve Nigeria's issues. We brought people from all over the country. You know what it is to fly people, our officers, top national officers, president, or both unions went to pay courtesy visit to Dangote Refinery to just welcome that we are here to allow you to collaborate with you. even our international umbrella body, industrial, we're all there too. So it shows that we are not there for war. It's to partner with Dangote Refinery and give him, should I say, a jack-up for him to succeed. Most organizers, most financiers, most capitalists think that once the union comes, they are enemies of the group. No, the union can help. Because in union, you speak with one voice. But if you have 1,000 workers, you have 1,000 voices which you will not hear anything about. But if you have representatives, the union, the shop floor guys, still whatever, will report to their union leaders, and the leaders can meet the leadership of their company, and they help. Not only safety issues coming too, not only just profit, but you can imagine if you have a fatality or your equipment goes down, the company loses. And if the worker is not happy, an unhappy worker is a dangerous worker to any organization. But you will not know that it's unhappy. But if you can say, look, this place we are passing, I saw one wire coming like this, because it's committed to the organization. And the organization will reap these efforts in the long run. So we are against this. There will be no union. We are trying to organize union. So the Dangote, yes, when he can buy it, we are not against him buying trucks to deliver his products.
Are you sure about that? Because the information says that there's worry that he's brought in 4,000 CNG trucks, and it would monopolize and also affect.
When what are we talking? When government removed subsidy, one of our fights was that they should introduce CNG, that it will reduce the cost of transportation and everything. So we are in support of CNG. But if the Nupen people have their trucks, you too have you can compete. But going that the drivers or the tankers will not belong to the union is an aberration.
So,
and they were made to force to sign that. Employment is scarce in this country.
But they've not expressly told you that the conditions of service under Dangote will be detrimental to their welfare and well-being. Is Pengerson are the unions not preempting, or are they not acting before the fact?
It is our business to organize.
But it's a private.
It's a worker.
Okay.
If he's private, let him go and bring his own private child to work with him. Even if his child is working as long as a worker, it was our duty to protect that particular worker. Even Dangote's MD, they are all workers, but there's categorization. You have maybe the junior staff or the senior staff, and the other allied industries, even within the Dangote Refinery, something. So we want to work together. Tell you, let's see it. We'll put up a CBA, a condition. It's a collective something, not that we just force this thing on you. We negotiate that this is what we feel is ideal for the worker, and you say, no, this is my profit. But we know the profit. And we say, no, let's share this cake. And the worker will be happy. Every month, every worker looks at his pay slip and say, yeah, this is what I can eat. But if you are paying me something I cannot go home with, he or she will cut corners.
Okay. Dangote's entry into the market has really disrupted the oil and gas market. There are those who believe that with Dangote, bringing in 4,000 CNG-powered trucks, he has the refinery, he has the trucks. His trucks are powered by CNG, not diesel, so obviously it's going to be way cheaper, and there's a possibility of him doing door-to-door delivery. So basically, it's kicking a lot of people out of business. So there are those who believe that this fight is not necessarily about the workers, but more about, the Pengerson, Nupeng, and, just basically standing up to Dangote because he seems to have, like some would say, monopolized the market.
Okay, if we say it's not unionizing truckers, what of the other categories of staff? It's not only truck he does. He goes there to refine. We have refiners. So why is it not unionizing the rest? There are no that's why I say all categories of workers should be unionized, whether they are truck drivers or senior staff.
So if he unionizes every category of his staff, will you be okay with that?
Problem, yeah. Because once you unionize, the process of engagement will be there, transparent.
Now let's talk about the government brokered talks yesterday. That reportedly ended up in a stalemate. Could you share details of that? How did it go? Are you making progress? And what's the bone of contention, really?
It's the same bone of contention, but we also appreciate the fast tracking of engagement by government of both parties. Gbenga is watching closely, and will say that if anything goes on, we'll put our full weight into it. And after yesterday, I think the meeting deadlocked, so the action still continues.
So the strike action continues.
So is there
today?
strike now?
So what's your red line for escalating to strike action?
If there's total breakdown of discussion.
Okay.
So currently, as we speak now, are we on strike?
There are processes, we take, which I might not tell you all now.
Okay.
If you say you don't just say strike, we shut down. There are processes, and those processes are already in motion.
So it's just
so the
like
red
a
line that will activate those processes is if there's
But
a
right
complete
now,
breakdown.
Nupeng has given directives to his tankers to stop
loading,
distributing or loading and all. And we can also go ahead to, once we detain, we just pray that this is just a family something. We are okay. We went to Dangote with our only branch. Not that we just woke up one day like we organized in some. Sorry, like we organized that coming. Just right later, unions will come in there. We went there to his refinery, far, the Lekki area there, and they took us around the facilities. That is what they're doing, and we applauded it. Not that we're against it.
Yeah, we saw the video, but comrade, I mean, I'm part of the Nigerians who are equally worried about this quick declaration of strike. Because, comrade, if you remember, just a few months ago, the former GMD of NNPCL, Kyari, had joined forces in stating that some of the refineries will be working at a certain time, and it never worked. And there was what Nigerians have called a charade that was put up, where the refinery the one in Port Harcourt, Warri, was touted to be working, and people were jubilating. But all of a sudden, it shut down, and we didn't see any strike from Pengasin or Nupeng to say, listen, we're going to go on strike for having put our people out of work, for the refineries not working for so long a time. But just like I said, I'm part of the Nigerians who are wondering, Dangote is just here, and all of a sudden Nupeng and Pengasin are strong in saying no. What happened to the refineries that have been lying comatose for years? They're not working. Are your people not working there too? Or they are getting paid?
People have come to that sort of blackmail that they are working there, they are getting paid. That many people at the refinery. In Warri Refinery, for example, years back, we had about 1,800 members. As at a month ago, 2 months ago, they are just 47. The same thing for Port Harcourt Refinery. Because when this reduction came, they now posted most of them out so as to create space. The issue of the refinery is there's a big, I don't know how to say it. Government is involved, and some people don't want the refineries to work.
Who are these people?
That's let me say cabal. They are there. When the government, they don't want these refineries to work. They sabotage it. Everything. I want to
what benefit?
To their own benefit, maybe to be importing fuel, and that's what they want. Because we are talking of local production. That if you, sorry, madam, that local production, if we produce locally, that will be satisfied instead of importing and creating jobs for others abroad. Why not produce locally and then the issue of exchange rates also is affecting it. Maybe that's what also brought the prices. If you look at the price we are paying now for premium spirit and everything, it has gone up because of the exchange rate. But the main thing, as a nation, those refineries are strategic assets of a country. Putting all in a private individual, we compromise, I tell you, compromise, I won't just say security, but compromise the existence of Nigeria. You can imagine if a refinery stop working at once because of self-interest.
But they're not working at the moment.
No, refinery, like Port Harcourt Refinery, when they were rehabilitated, we now went for full refurbishment. Not just, I must tell you that the so-called turnaround maintenance, Port Harcourt Refinery for 20 years, nothing like that. It's just on paper. So who are you to blame? Is it us?
So you mentioned some people that are, that are culpable in this. You said that there's a cabal that want to make money from this. You've also said that the government is culpable.
Because they are government. Why can't government fish out and take the right action against all these people? How can pipeline be vandalized? To get crude saved, if you get right to get crude to the refinery is something else, because they vandalize the pipeline, and then you have to maybe resort to higher cost of badging and everything. So there are a lot of so the people that want to even buy the refinery, what do they want to achieve? Won't it work? So they want to get it, give it a bad name, sell it as scraps to themselves, and then it's business. And that's why we're saying that refurbish it, take the NLNG model, so that when government, if you say government has no business with business, bring the NLNG model that is working like the cash cow of Nigeria now. You have 51% by the private investors, and then government has 49%, so that they can keep an eye on where the money goes. Bring that model, and you see things change.
So currently now we can rightly say that no refinery is working, and we have just that of Dangote Refinery working.
And we can say that for now. Yeah.
So my question again is,
because if there's if they finish, well, go ahead.
My question is NUPENG and Pengasin going to canvass for other refineries to work, maybe by also calling for strike, so that the government would actually put their hands on and fix it?
We have been doing that. When you say strike is really the last option.
Okay.
You understand? So when people see like Dangote Refinery, we are striking like it just started yesterday. No, we have been engaging Dangote for more than 2 years.
Why would you go on a strike that would affect ordinary Nigerians and
It's
people
to
like
draw attention. When you cause,
no, you can't draw attention and hurt me when I have no part to play in the negotiations between Dangote and Pengasin.
if I hurt you today for 1 day and you enjoy for the next 1 week, which one will it take?
Who is really enjoying?
Or I leave you to suffer for the next 1 week.
But did the Nigerian people really just want to be able to get access to fuel, get access to affordable fuel? But when the two elephants fight, the grass is suffering. The grass here, the Nigerian people. Have there been any measures put in place to ensure that?
To consider us.
You know, we're being considered, the Nigerian citizens are being considered, right? Whilst also fighting for what you believe in.
Of course, that's always been in place, because we too are Nigerians, and we want to fight for the interest of Nigeria and Nigerians. It has been there. But if your parent as a kid tells you something, you will not believe that this is the direction the parent is going. Until you grow older, if truly your parent has your interest at heart.
Okay. I also want to ask, there have been conversations around 5% to be added to fuel price. We've not gotten any reaction from Pengasin. Are you in support of that 5% that the federal government is looking to add? We've not gotten a start date yet, so they're saying it's not likely January 2026, but it would start, and it's going to be 5%. What it simply means that every Nigerian will be forced to pay more for fuel. So if you're buying fuel of 50,000 naira, 5% of 50,000 naira to fuel on that, and then we know the impact it will have on Nigerians. And you just said that you care about Nigerians. Is NUPENG, Pengasin, every other body, are they in support of that 5%?
We are not in support of it. We are totally against it. And our umbrella body, the Trade Union Congress, I'm talking about Pengasin now, under the leadership of Professor Osifo, they've issued a statement on it. And as affiliate of Trade Union Congress, we are ready to follow the directives as being given. They are totally against it. 5% is an additional burden on the people. You increase fuel from 180, you remove subsidy, yes. Look at the quantum increase. And we are still reeling on that, trying to survive it. Yes, the naira has been stable, and then you are bringing something there, say 20-25% on purchase. No.
Now,
totally against it.
Where are we as we speak today in terms of negotiations, and what's the way forward?
Because yesterday, we know yesterday was a deadlock. Is there any other one?
Yeah, the meeting will continue.
Today?
Yeah.
Oh, great. So we should expect some
hopefully,
feedback.
as I said, we are not there to
you extended an olive branch.
Exactly. We are not there to cut down Dangote's refinery neck or anything. We want to be partners with them and make, as he's getting his own, our members too should also meet their own aspiration, career growth, a safe work environment, and a fair wage for their work.
Okay.
Okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We hope that Dangote Refinery, Pengasin, Nupeng, NLC, and all the interested stakeholders, IPMAN, Petron, all the stakeholders can come together and find a middle ground that benefits all the parties and especially the Nigerian people.
Because at the end of the day, we don't want to go back to the dark days of begging petrol attendant.
Yeah, it's bad.
Everybody's looking for petrol attendant that they have, a friendship with. All right, let's share with you now what's coming up next on Breakfast Central. Coming up next on Breakfast Central, we'll be looking at the state of the nation, economically, politically, and otherwise. Calls intensify for electoral reforms. They are asking for an overhaul of INEC. Authorities urge to enforce sanitation laws on open urination. Please stay with us.
Ew. Welcome back to Breakfast Central. Former Senator and Labour Party gubernatorial candidate in Imo State, Atad Achonu, has called for sweeping constitutional and economic reforms to strengthen Nigeria's democracy and unlock inclusive development. Speaking at a press briefing in Abuja on the state of the nation, the former federal lawmaker welcomed the Supreme Court judgment on local government autonomy, but demanded that INEC take over council elections to end what he describes as a mockery of state electoral commissions, urging civic groups to hold leaders accountable for the use of council allocations.
On the economy, the ex-lawmaker faulted the state governors over the handling of subsidy removal proceeds, pushing instead for a constitutional framework that channels more funds directly to local governments. He also called for the constitutional zoning of the presidency among Nigeria's 6 geopolitical zones, starting with the southeast and northeast, yet to produce a president since 1999. Joining us for today's discussion is the well-known speaker, former lawmaker rather, and former governorship candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 elections in Imo State, Senator Atad Achonu. Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. Good morning.
All right, you've described state-run council polls as a charade. So let's talk about what constitutional changes you're proposing and how do lawmakers build a consensus around it?
I didn't hear you very well.
I'm asking what constitutional changes you are proposing and how lawmakers can... But let's first start with the constitutional changes you're proposing, and then we can go into how lawmakers can build a consensus around it.
Building the consensus depends on this president has shown capability in pushing anything he wants through the National Assembly. So, and then he is highly interested in local government autonomy. So I think it won't be difficult to have consensus on this, my proposals, and which are they definitely align with the president's intentions as well and his own proposals. So it won't be difficult to push it through, to have consensus. I don't think so.
On some of the proposals you've made, you described state-run council polls as a charade, looking at the state independent electoral commissions. And what we've seen in the recent past is always winner takes it all situation, and most likely the party in power in the states. And you've called for INEC to take over responsibility of the state independent electoral commissions. Don't you think INEC at this point is already overburdened with organizing by-elections, staggered elections, and also it's the presidential governorship and legislative assembly? Can it onboard local governments to its already daunting task and responsibilities?
I don't think INEC is overburdened, because this election cycle, it comes after every 4 years. Yeah, so this can be staggered. The elections can be staggered. It's not a problem. It's just that They are not thinking about it. Once they think about it, the solution is there. It's very simple. You have this one this year, local government election. You have the other one this year. You have the other one next year. You can't do it. You can do so many things. But the most important thing is that local government election is the most important election. That third tier of governance is the most important one. Because if you look at how Nigeria is structured, in so many states of this federation, there are so many minorities who this local government autonomy will protect their interests, who are being discriminated against by so many governors in various states of the federation. Now, then, if you look at this insecurity, I started raising alarm. Immediately, the Abia State governor won a Supreme Court judgment, and this local government system changed. The autonomy was taken away from them. Criminality started. I raised alarm on AIT. I challenged it. I told them that every councillor, elected councillor, knows everybody in his ward. And then if this criminality will not exist because they will be able to identify who is who. So when these criminals come, especially when Boko Haram started, I raised alarm, I shouted, nobody listened. Now, I'm so happy that this president has done it, but he should go further, step further, because without this INEC conduct, this thing is a sham. This thing governors are doing all over the place. And then there's another thing. This is the only arm of government that we can hold accountable. So that's why I'm suggesting that bulk of the money should go to them. And then when we hold them accountable, when you have properly elected local government chairmen, you will now have properly elected House of Assembly members. Because these chairmen who come from different parties will be independent-minded. So that when a House of Assembly member is not doing well, he can be easily recalled. When he's not probing the government, the state government, they can be easily recalled. You understand? So that is why we don't have any true democracy. And then when we now have proper House of Assembly members who are independent-minded, we can now checkmate the National Assembly as well, who can checkmate the federal government. We have, these things are being created for us, but we're not handling it well. The structure is not correct. Once we correct the structure, we'll have a proper democracy. That's what I believe.
Okay, permit me to take you back. I know you're talking about insecurity and so on, but before we focus on insecurity and also look at the subnationals, similar time in September 2024, you had made a statement that the people no longer decide who they want to vote for, but it's the judiciary. Do you still have faith in Nigeria's judiciary or judicial system? Do you still believe that people should actually put their faith in them, knowing fully well that they will do what is right?
Nobody has faith in anything in this country anymore. That's why I made a call for that conference yesterday. Now, the judiciary is a problem. Legislature, a problem. Government, everybody's complaining. But like I said, we already have structures that are supposed to protect the interest of this country, that are supposed to checkmate governance. You understand? Okay, for example, the National Assembly is supposed to be checkmating ministries. People are shouting, they use this amount to do this, they use that amount to do this. The structures are there. There is the BPP, Brief Public Procurement, who should be held responsible, who will tell a contractor if he doesn't approve an amount of money for a contract, that contract will not be awarded. They will now award contract. They will be challenging the president, abusing the contractor. Meanwhile, there are civil servants whose responsibility is to make sure that there's appropriate pricing for these projects. So there are people who can hold accountable, who can send to jail over these things. Nobody's talking about it. Everybody's focusing on the president or the governors. So the structures are there, and then we can't challenge them because the governors, for example, control who goes to the Senate, who goes to the House of Reps, who goes to the House of Assembly because of this autonomy they control over local government. Once they cease to control that, you will see through democracy. See what was happening during Obasanjo. if you're a governor and you want to win an election, you will go and appeal to the people properly. This time, nobody campaigns. When I was running for election, my governor, I was the only one who was campaigning. Nobody campaigned because they will just sit and write the results. So, and they will tell you to go to court. So, when we now we must start from the grassroots, get it right, move to the other level, get it right, move. It must be gradual. Can't be unless there's a revolution. That's the only way out. Unless you want to have a revolution. That's what I believe. I've looked at the problem. When everybody is screaming from shouting, talking shop every day in Nigeria, that's what we're doing. We're not looking at the problem. How do we solve it? That's the point I want to make.
So,
start from local government autonomy. It will change. We'll begin to hold them. When we hold them, and they should be given more money, because they are the only people who. Okay, let me give you an example. There's a certain local government chairman in Lagos. Alabi. Lagos, they give Tinubu has been releasing all their monies to all in fact, he even created more local governments, sharing the money among all of them. Look at what that Alabi, he just handed over the other day 21 roads, 4 health centers, built some schools, equipped his local government with fire trucks and ambulances for the health centers. One local government chairman. So you can imagine what can happen all over Nigeria. Look at the amount of money they are getting. The humongous amount of money, there is nothing to show for it. So we must interrogate this.
What will
and then we have Nigeria. Look, we have the Labour Congress. We have all these civil societies. Nobody is talking. Nobody is doing anything. Student organizations. I used to be involved in the election of labor leaders before, and man's lead, so that we choose the correct people. But when they became politicized, when they became transactional, I just stopped. But now we have to take up this challenge, and Tinubu has done what he can do for us by making sure we have local government autonomy. We must make sure that these local government get their monies directly from FAC. They must be represented at FAC. They must obey this. If they don't do it, my state, the local government chairman don't get any money at all. Highest, they just get salaries. Where is the money? And then you cannot, as a local government chairman, move the money belonging to that local government for a development in another local government or in a city that has no business with you without the people who own that money agreeing for it to go there. That's what the governors are doing. They'll come, you sign up, say for this joint project. Joint project where? It's not local government project, it's state project. So use state resources to do it. Local government money must be spent in that local government that owns it. That's what the Constitution provides. But it's not so. So this is where the problem is. And everybody is looking at the federal government, not looking at the state. So we can catch the local government chairman, jail him. Let us make sure he has financial autonomy. So at least that small money, we can account for it. And they will ask for them to be given more. That's the first step.
Okay. I wanted to still ask, just to push back a little on the conversation about local government. I know you said that there aren't as many civil societies that are speaking, and you made reference to what it was like in your time. I'm asking again, what will accountability look like in terms of local government? Supreme Court can pass a decision in July 2024 granting autonomy, but the implementation of it, what will the picture of it look like? What will accountability look like? And what would you say to those who say that there are fears that the state governors might manipulate the process, and those who say the Constitution does not entirely insulate local governments from, doesn't entirely grant local government autonomy?
It does, actually. It's the practice. For example, a chairman cannot spend any money without the council. It's just like the way state governments are supposed to be run. But we don't have any House of Assembly in Nigeria. None at all. No state House of Assembly. So it's whatever the governor wants that he does. So it's the same thing in local government. But local government is the only arm that we can interrogate, challenge successfully. Okay? We should not be afraid that there are so many judges in Nigeria who have integrity, a lot of them. So it is like, Nigeria is just like the wild, wild west, like America used to be. Criminal gangs used to install governors, install police chiefs in America, judges. But journalists took up the challenge, fighting. Anything they exposed could not be covered. That's how they saved America. So we are at that point now where a governor can come appoint all the local government chairmen. They're like gangsters. Appoint House of Assembly members. They are aides. They are workers. Appoint even those who go to National Assembly. That's where we are right now as a country. Even challenge the president, threaten the president. That's what they're doing, so that they will not give him support if he doesn't work with them. That's the country is being hijacked by the Nigerian Governors Forum. And we have to recover it. And local government autonomy is the only sure way to start. There's no other way. I can bet on that.
Senator Chonu, you recently condemned an attack in Imo State, Idiato North local government area a few months ago, and security means a lot to you. You've also survived an assassination attempt yourself. Recently, the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, seems to be heeding the call on this call for state police. Where do you stand in this debate? Are you for or against state police? And if you're for state police, what sort of model would you propose so as to insulate it from abuse and excesses from governors?
Senator, can you hear us?
Hello, Senator, did you get my question? Okay. I'll repeat my question, sir. I said we now want to talk about security, and you recently condemned an attack in Idiato North local government area that unfortunately led to the loss of some lives in Imo State. And we've seen that the problem of insecurity permeates different regions in Nigeria. And there's been a recent call for the introduction of state policing, which the president echoed recently. What's your take on state policing? Where do you stand in this debate? Okay, we seem to be having some connection issues with Senator Ethan Achunu. Hopefully we'll get back to him soon. But interesting conversation so far on local government autonomy. And we've often said it here so many times. It's the closest to the people. And it's unfortunate that the common man only sees Abuja and the federal government has been responsible for the issues, their personal problems. But
Yeah.
it shouldn't be that way. And it's giving governors and local government chairmen a free pass.
Yeah, I mean, to take out of many things that the former senator has said, one is that he applauded President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for ensuring that he pushed for the autonomy, state autonomy in terms of local government. And while applauding that, he also highlighted the fact that it's not just in ensuring that there is local government autonomy, it's in the implementation.
Yes.
And he used the words, that's why you have, things like mafia or so, gangsters appointing themselves. Sadly, he's not far-fetched from what we've seen, especially the realities that we've seen on ground. We did see what took place. River State is just a clear case. While we say that, we've seen instances where
everywhere,
where it's just a case of saying this is, and then we saw the picture. Olive was celebrating. Permit me to use the word.
Which of them?
The local government
It
council.
wasn't me. It was Gbenga. He was celebrating. He was very excited about it.
You could tell that the caps were already prepared, and even when they were wearing, it looked like helmets.
And you're wondering, are these people really going there to serve the people?
And you could tell that many of them even looked confused. They didn't even know why they were there, but they just had the hats on. And I did hear that even some of them were asked, how did you win? And they just said, well, I don't care as long as I'm here. And it's just exactly what we're seeing from the subnationals.
So we need to do better in the quality of governance and also the followership. They need to be interested in politics. So you don't end up appointing people who have no idea of what governance is making decisions that would affect your life in many ways. So people need to start looking at politics literally as a matter of life and death, and as a survival, as a matter of survival and utmost importance. Because you can't sit in your house, you don't vote, you don't participate, you don't care who is elected, and then many years down the line, you start complaining about the quality of governance and leadership you're getting.
I agree with you that there needs to be a lot more involvement. There are people who want to change a lot in the political space, but want to change a lot from the outside. And the truth is, yes, you can change from the outside, but there's so much that you can do standing on the sidelines. Being involved in the process is a huge part. When people complain about not getting certain qualities, because you have to choose from the lot you're presented to. And if we don't have more people involved, how do we have more options of people to choose from? So for those of you who are considering and thinking about getting involved in politics, this is to encourage you that we need more options. And for us to get more options, we need you to be interested and involved in the process. We can't just criticize from the sidelines and expect the change to happen.
And being active citizens too. I mean, being law-abiding citizens, performing civic responsibilities, attending public hearings, giving feedback to local government, putting them on their toes, keeping them honest. We also have a role, the office of the citizen. But I believe we have a re-established connection with Senator Achono. Welcome back, sir. We're happy to have you back. But let's talk about security. It's something that is very personal and dear to you. Recently, you condemned the attack in Idiato North local government area of Imo State, where there was levels of there was insecurity there, and you also survived an assassination attempt. We've seen Mr. President propose the establishment of state policing as a panacea to insecurity in the country. What's your take on the state policing debate? Are you for or against the introduction of state policing?
I am for creation of local policing, which includes local governments and state governments. If not, I already said earlier that the governors have hijacked the country. You can't give them police unless you change the structure. We'll achieve full local government autonomy. And by the way, the Senate just passed a resolution trying to make them members of FARC. The next thing is to insist that they own their own bank accounts and control all their money. No governor should touch any local government money. We'll start from there. Now, if you allow state police without local government police, they should have boundaries, like you have in other developed societies. Local policing, every crime is local. So, like, for example, let me give you an example in Imo State. Because of the high level of insecurity, and after they burnt the police stations, I offered with my resources to rebuild the police stations, 3 of them. I brought money. I even brought money. I met the Inspector General of Police. I brought money to fix the APCs, 9 of them. They ate my money. They fixed only 1. I don't know what happened. Up to today, I don't know what happened to that. I shouted on TV, screamed, nothing happened. Till today, none of those police stations have been repaired. I even bought land. I brought the commissioner of police to my village. Take land, see where build police station here. I have the contractor I paid up to now has my money. One of the contractors, nothing. So this is intentional. What the governors are doing, my state, for example, is to create instability so that there will be no voting. They will write results. That's all they are doing. Nothing else. Most of this insecurity, Abacha said that if insecurity exists, is it 1 week or 2 weeks that government is involved? Okay, how can you have security when the governor is controlling everything in the state? How? It's not possible. You can't. So local government autonomy, this president is very, very wise. Very, very wise. He's a governor. He gives his money to all his local government chairmen. He doesn't touch their copper. He even adds from the internally generated revenue to them. That's why he discovered the importance of local government autonomy. That's why. So we must assist him to achieve it. So state police, fine, but it must be, you must have local government police. These forest guards that the president introduced will work with local government vigilantes and other security agencies in every local government. The state police will have their own level of police in the state. Federal will have their own level of, like you have the ABI, state police, and sheriffs in the US.
All right, Senator.
That's the only way it can work.
Senator,
if not, I won't go to Imo State again if the government is controlling both the police and the criminals.
All right, Senator Nathan Atonu, let's go on a very quick break. When we come back, we'll continue the conversation. Please stay with us.
Thanks so much for staying with us here. We're still continuing the conversation with Senator Atonu, who joins us live. Thank you so much for staying with us. Quickly, we've touched on security a little, but I just want to quickly ask, what's your take on the paramilitary? I mean, we've seen the Gbenga and the likes. Do you think this is the right way to go? And what do you think is still feeling insecurity, especially in the southeast?
I can hear you very well.
Okay, I'm wondering if you can hear me now. My question is, what's your take on what's fueling insecurity in the southeast? And what do you make of the likes of the paramilitary like Ibubuago and the likes?
All this, there is a place called, I live in Imo, I live in my village and Abuja. So I've not been to the rest of the southeast for a long time. In my state, there is a police unit called the Tiger Base, owned solely by the governor. In fact, one of his aides controlled the police people there. They are the ones who shot at me openly during the last election, tried to assassinate me, and I raised alarm. Nothing was done. They are still there doing their work. So most of these insecurities caused by government themselves. Government is behind all the insecurity in Imo State. You know, so there was a video that was going viral. One of them called Gentle. He made a video. One of these so-called, he said he's a Biafran, and he's been trying to defend himself that he's not behind most of these killings. And the boy came out and said that one chief, Tony Chukwu, and the governor tried to make him to assassinate me. The video has gone viral. It's everywhere on YouTube. But he refused. That's why they're attacking him. That's why they tried to kill him. And up to now, my cousin, who was my agent, local government agent at in the last election, we have not found him. He's missing. Both his car and his body has not been found since the election till today. You know, so government is behind. Let us just have that financial autonomy for local governments, create this local government police. You understand? So we can challenge government to an extent where we can. And once we can, once we get the state assemblies right, we can get the governors right. And without local government autonomy, we can't do any of this. That's the key. President Bola Tinubu knows what he's doing. Oh, that's the key, because he practiced local government autonomy in Lagos State, so he saw the benefits. Like I told you, one of his chairmen, Alabi, what he was able to do. You know, please, Nigerians should make sure that we support this president with local. That's the solution. We can't arrest Tinubu. We can't arrest any governor. So we can arrest local government chairmen, and we can interrogate commissioners and ministers. So we can get Nigeria right if we do the right things. That's my take.
I think my final question, away from security and insecurity, would be your take on the ADC. The ADC as a political party and the agenda that they have to kick out the ruling party.
Just to add, are you still with the Labour Party?
I'm not. I don't know what ADC is. I'm not a member of ADC. I've stopped this practice. This practice of jumping from one party to the other should stop in Nigeria. If you're in a political party and something is going bad, help to change it. Help to make it better, so that we can make progress as a nation. All this jumping from one party to the other, merging and what are you merging for? Okay, look at all the people in ADC. They have been in government. And our government, from the last time we had any government, for example, that every Nigerian benefited was during Obasanjo. You could speak Yoruba there, you could speak Igbo, you could speak outside in government house. Immediately, Yar'Adua came, Katsina Mafia took over. Jonathan came, his people, South took over. When Buhari came, it became worse. And look at what we have in government now. You understand? So, because the other people are not benefiting, they're angry, other tribes, they're angry. It's just a tribal thing, or the religious thing. Tribal and religious, that's what Nigeria is all about. So I don't believe in that. So let us focus, I'm not focusing on elections now. That was the first thing I said, that we shouldn't hit up the polity. If a particular tribe, that's the only way we can get it right, zoning, constitutionalizing zoning. If a particular zone is having the presidency, we should allow that zone to finish 8 years. We should make it, change it in the constitution, make it constitutional, so that there are all this fighting, all these things, and they are distracting governance. The man is not concentrating. He's now trying to see how he can come back. He wants to do. He told us that it was his turn, and his turn is 8 years. So you want to come and take it from him now, after the way he won this thing? Fine, anybody from his zone can aspire to replace him if he's not doing well. So let us give him time to do well or not do well. Let us face governance. That's what I want to say again. It must be constitutionalized zoning, so that all this fighting, all this merger, all these things should stop. People should stay in their party and fix their party. And if they have bad leadership, they change it. When they remove Ganduje, I thought they will also remove the chairmanship of Progressive Governors Forum, get more qualified people to head that body, so that these people can start respecting the APC. But it wasn't done. But I'm just watching the president.
All right. Well, I want to say thank you so much for joining us, former gubernatorial candidate of the 2023 elections, and also a former senator, lawmaker. Thanks for joining us. We look forward to speak with you again, hopefully in the near future.
Thanks for your time, Senator Choma.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on now to another interesting story now. This time, Gbenga, it's got to do with just what the senator has spoken about. Coalition and parties and elections and every single thing.
I mean, the body that conducts all of this is the INEC, the Independent National Electoral Commission, and Nigerians are calling for reforms. A coalition of stakeholders are calling for a complete overhaul of INEC and sweeping electoral reforms ahead of the 2027 general elections. From Lagos to Abuja, the message is clear. Nigeria's democracy is on the brink. A coalition of civil society leaders, legal minds, and political veterans is sounding the alarm. They say the 2023 elections exposed deep flaws in our electoral system, and if we don't act now, 2027 could be worse, and if serious reforms are not put in place. We shall be paying attention to areas such as the trust deficit, the electoral umpire INEC, loopholes in the Independent Electoral Commission Act that needs to be addressed, as well as INEC leadership transition with Professor Mahmood Yakubu's tenure nearing its end. There's also rising suspense on who will lead INEC into the 2027 polls. Join us this morning to unpack this discussion is an expert when it comes to electoral matters in Nigeria. We're joined by the former country director of Action Aid, Mrs. NLB. Good morning to you, madam, and thanks for joining us on Breakfast Central.
Good morning, and thanks for having me.
Now, madam, the 2023 elections were widely criticized. They said INEC promised a lot but under-delivered. Would you say, what's your assessment of INEC today as we inch towards the 2027 elections? Would you say they've learned lessons from the 2023 elections in the by-elections and staggered elections we've conducted since the 2023 elections? Have you noticed any improvements? What's your assessment of INEC as we speak today?
Thank you very much for having me. The 2023 general election had a lot of hopes, because of the way, we mobilized the civil society, the citizens of Nigeria. You remember the continuous voter registration, which was massively, and there was a lot of excitement from the younger population. I remember Tafawa Balewa Square, almost all stadiums were filled up, in different states across the country, people really wanting to do that. And the reason why they wanted to do that was because the by-elections to the 2023 general election was at a time when votes started counting because of the technology that was being utilized. The beavers machines were beginning to count. And I remember when we started from Anambra election down to Osun, Ekiti, before the general election, votes were counting in terms of INEC immediately publishing the results online. And so people were beginning to hope again, trust building, because there were, in the past, the snatching of the ballot boxes, the snatching of ballot boxes and so on, and people were believing again, hoping to see what we see. In Anambra, for example, before 10 p.m. of the day of the voting, the result was online already, and the same with Ekiti or Osun, down. But when it came to the general election, you saw all the failure that came. And I want to let you know, I always will say that INEC, the current INEC, with the way we walked into the 2023 election, they had the capacity. I can tell you that, because I worked very closely with them, and they were very, very open. And so we worked with them with our minds, and then blocking the loopholes for wherever there was any thing that will give INEC trouble, and we walked into them. But 2023 is what you saw, and a lot of disappointment. Many of us had to go through psychosocial support, because we believed in INEC and we trusted the system to bring us better results. What you see is what you have seen, which was really fraudulent and also flawed. That is not to say that the system wasn't ready or whatever, but we have to deal with the quality of the human beings. I think what we need to, when we are looking at today, you say you remember Edo came in, Kogi came in, and you saw a lot of, fraud again. So when you are looking at the preparedness of INEC, have they learned lessons from 2023 general election? You see that the lessons don't seem to be there, because if you can see something, if you look at Kogi election, for example, that proved that you had about 238 or so thousand people who were eligible voters, and the votes that were declared were more than 400,000. It begins to let you wonder whether INEC is learning or whether they have learned. And so they need to show. I think what we are dealing with here is the machines can do what they can, but the human beings, and we're looking at the issues of patriotism here. What is the patriotic level, of all the individuals that are manning the different environments? I do believe that INEC would have delivered a better result. They qualified to have delivered a better result, and we believed in them, and that's why we trusted and worked with them. When I was in the Nigerian Civil Society Situation Room, I'm still there as a member of the steering committee of the Nigerian Civil Society Situation Room, but we are so disappointed on the way they have held on so far. Whatever you're talking, and up to today, no real explanation was given for how INEC faltered, because you can't tell us, the senatorial, or is it the senatorial or House of Representatives results were published, and you were not able to publish, the presidential result on time, and also publish it, accurately. So, it's a mixed bag. Very disappointing. Nigeria is a great country. We believe that changing, leadership through a peaceful means is what we deserve.
Okay.
It is what we want. But where are we taking ourselves to?
Okay, you've taken us back to how it was and the expectations, but it seems like it was never met. It's what we usually say here in the normal definition. It's what we ordered, what Nigerians ordered versus what Nigerians eventually got. And like the saying goes, everyone is calling for a reform, a reform. Let's talk about the beavers and the IREV. These were meant to be fantastic game changers. We've seen it happen in other climes. We've seen it also happen in Ghana, where technology was indeed deployed, and it actually gave very critical results that has led to what Ghana simply is today. Do you think that using the beavers and the IREV seems to be one of the major challenges INEC is having, hence why there's a call for them to go to what we know before, what we're used to, which is the physical counting, writing, using the ballot? Or do you think that there is just a clear intention to ensure that these technologies do not work here in Nigeria?
I think we're talking about the human beings that are working with the technology. Technology can work. If it worked in the by-elections, it could as well work, in the general election. Did they mean it to work? Was it meant to work? Or do we have, I think the political class also is heavy on INEC. The political class is like he who pays the piper dictates his tune. What is the leverage in terms of the independence of INEC itself? Because when I was looking at the chairman that day, I was looking at him, and it looked like when he was pronouncing or declaring the election 2023, I looked at him as if I didn't know him anymore. And I was telling myself, I said, anybody who has overwhelmed the chairman is a real criminal. I know that it takes two to tango, but whoever overwhelmed him to let him do the wrong thing, or even the electoral, resident electoral commissioners in the different states of the federation, the political class, the God of Nigeria is watching everybody. And I'm saying this because when you are overwhelmed, what do? But you can choose to do the right thing or to do the wrong thing. Or what really happened to the kind of the man that I knew. This is in the person of the chairman himself. We knew that he was overwhelmed all along. But again, do we declare for Nigeria? How do we stand upright for Nigeria? How do we stand up and declare for Nigeria that we stand as Nigerians? Because if the soul of Nigeria is wounded. And he possessed the kind of, he's a very intelligent person. I worked with him, we as a team, we worked with him very, very closely. He's very, very intelligent. He has intelligent team around him. But who is it? What did we do wrong that you have to do what you did? Whoever did to him also is a criminal that we have. Whoever overwhelmed him, because we need to let ourselves tell the truth. The beavers machine is an excellent machine. You need to compare as well. If you look at the Ghanaian example, Ghana, you had so many political parties. The agents at the polling unit decided to work and stand upright for Ghana. Whether you are an agent of a particular party or agent of the other, unlike Nigeria, where at a point you find out that all the agents who swept to work, they upheld the truth in the last election for those who went to monitor the election. When you go to Germany, for example, I'm just trying to compare whether you use machine or you use the paper itself. It depends on how you believe in your country and how you are standing up for the country. In Germany, for example, they don't use machines. And one of my professors who went and had contact with the Germans, he told us, he said he talked to the electoral commissioner, for example, and the electoral commissioner, whoever, the chairman, who is the like of INEC chairman here, when he told him, he's even a member of a political party in the land. And he's the one that is declaring, is declaring the result. So the question to him was, how can you be a member of a political party and then you are the one who is declaring election nationally? No, the guy didn't understand the question, but when he got to understand, he first said, it's about professionalism. That's a profession. He's a member of a political party. As a German, he will do whatever he needs to do. But when it comes to being doing his professional work, he says it's totally professional. And then they also asked the chairman, how come, you know, you use, even at this time, when Germany is technologically very advanced, how come you're still using, you know, paper? He said, Germans trust Germans more.
Okay, we seem to have frozen
network.
there.
But I mean, I
Hopefully
could
we'll
help her
back.
complete
But
that statement.
very,
She
very
was
key
meant
point.
to say, Germans trust Germans more than technology.
Yeah.
I guess that was.
And there's this statement that has been permeated, especially with what she also said. It's not the technology, it's the people who man the technology.
And she also made reference to electoral agents in Ghana. If you remember, we had this conversation with Mr. Katuba. He said, look, it's not the technology, it's the
Yeah,
people,
he
the
was one of
integrity
those
of the
who said
people. Because he mentioned that you see a situation where agents of a particular party will be financially induced by another party and they sabotage all the hard work of the candidates of their own party just to be bribed and to doctor results for another party. So we need to do better as a people. And we also need to really take a look at the human factor in everything we do. You could deploy all the technology in the world. It's still human beings that would operate these technologies.
I'm hoping that we can have a reconnection with her again and maybe look at, you know, what sort of qualities. All right, you're welcome back, ma'am. Can you hear
Thank
us?
you very much.
Okay.
Okay.
I want us to take,
Yes,
I mean,
I can hear you.
you were speaking about, maybe land on the thought, you were talking about
Germany,
Germans,
yeah.
trusting Germans.
Yes, I was speaking about that because I said they said the Germans trust Germans more than the machine. What that means is that the machine can be hacked and so on and so forth, but they believe that, you know, they believe in each other. And that's the way to go forward. Do we believe in ourselves? The content, the quality, you know, kind of integrity that Nigerians have today. Do we believe in Nigeria? And do we believe in Nigerians? Because your solidarity should be first as a patriotic Nigerian. You pledge to your country, Nigeria, to be faithful, loyal, and honest. Are you faithful, loyal, and honest? And this is the bedrock of everything. Should we, can we just hold on to Nigeria? Anywhere you are as journalists, you are doing your work, bringing to Nigerians the information they need to, you work so hard. Can every Nigerian in their own positions hold on to what they are doing and make sure that we have it? So with the reforms that we're talking about, we fought seriously, you know, for the electoral reforms, the Electoral Act in 2022, before it was approved. We were on the street. It was the 7th time before it was given. It was eventually signed into law. And today we have it, but having law is not enough. The people to implement the law is what is very, very important. And so the reforms that we are talking about, the independency, the patriotism level, Nigerians need to, there is need to have change of heart. There is no kind of reforms that you can do without the human beings that are implementing effectively and believing in Nigeria is one of the best things that can happen to us. But the political class, we do have a challenge. Citizens of Nigeria, they're even going into docility. Nobody is holding people into account. Sanctions are not meted. We are not even accounted for. Why did you behave the way you did? If you say it's technology you want to implement, you can't do that if you believe in yourself and if you believe in the people that are operating it as well. So whether you are in the military, wherever you are, you need to remain as a Nigerian.
Okay, just finally, final question from my end. What would be the three, let's say top three things you think needs to be amended in the electoral reform? What would be an electoral reform amendment in quotes for you? Top three.
I think one of the things that was used, I think, is one of the things that we're talking about is there was a loophole, and I think when the president was going to sign into law, I was sitting down with a lawyer who looked at the contentious, I think 8412, you know, that we talked about, you know, whether it is beavers or whatever machine that you want to be able to use, you have to be able to put it. If it's electronics you want to go in the hallway. We can transmission should be electronical, because INEC was able to use their own rules to declare the elections, and that is that a section, I think, is INEC's guideline. They are either 20A or according to the INEC guideline 20A or section 18 talked about that INEC has the right to choose which way to declare, and that is not right. You can't give a law and then you give a guideline that then supersedes what you're talking about. But for me, I think the people, the independence of INEC, not just independence, but the patriotism level is what needs to change. In terms of the rule, we have to say you can vote electronically. If you can go and press your hand, you can equally vote electronically and let it be transmitted. If we want to go electronic, and I thought we were doing very well, and we were actually doing very well, because people can see the results very clearly. INEC was tightening the resolve in terms of stopping the looting, or is it the way they brutalize the results? And I know that they will come for them, but electronic voting, I think, should be encouraged. And a single day voting, where they want to amend, we should be looking at every election to be held in a single day. Because if you can you can have 3 papers, you can also have 5 papers, and then conduct the election in a single day, so that there is no room for manipulation and all of that. And everybody needs to know, for the civil society, when we talk of the elections, we are not talking about, we are not the ones there. We are happy that people want to contest, but contest, the person who will occupy is a fellow Nigerian. In every state, they are fellow, statesmanship or male and female to contest. So people need to go and contest. There will be a winner or a loser. These are your citizens still. So we should not bring in the competition. Are we in this world forever? You live and let live. And then you move on as well. You encourage others. Some of us who are not in politics, we encourage those who are in politics. But let the right thing be done. Let people be accountable for their behavior or anything they do.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mrs. Enobi, for speaking with us. We look forward to maybe there will be another reform, and hopefully it will be done before the elections come around. Thanks for your time.
Thank you for having me.
We're going to a quick break here on Breakfast Central. Coming up next would be the breakfast headlines. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us here on News Central's Breakfast Central. Let's take a look at what the headlines definitely are saying here on Breakfast Headlines. President Bola Tinubu has ordered a full review of military operations following a deadly Boko Haram attack in Darajamal, Bama, Borno State that killed at least 63 people, including 5 soldiers. Vice President Kashim Shettima expressed deep condolences to the victims' families and reaffirmed the president's directive to intensify security measures. The government plans to deploy advanced military hardware and surveillance equipment, including drones, to eliminate terrorist threats across the country. Shettima highlighted the federal government's consideration of establishing state police units tailored to local security needs. Borno Governor Babagana Zulum visited the affected community, pledging support for resettlement and protection of displaced families. Nigeria's Department of State Services has issued a 1-week ultimatum to activist and Sahara Reporters publisher Omoyele Sowore over a recent social media post about President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Well, in a letter dated September 7, 2025, the DSS accused Sowore of making false, malicious and inciting remarks on X, formerly known as Twitter. The post made on August 26 described President Tinubu as a criminal and accused him of deceiving Nigerians about corruption in his administration. The agency warned that failure to retract the statement could compel it to take full lawful action to protect national security and public order. Sowore, former presidential candidate and known pro-democracy advocate, is being asked to delete the post. issue a public apology in major newspapers and TV stations, and formally respond to the DSS within 1 week. The Leadership Center for Civil and Post-Trauma Rehabilitation, together with its affiliates, has expressed deep concern over what it described as unethical, immoral, and personal attacks by human rights activist Omoyele Sowore against President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. This comes a day after the Department of State Services issued a 1-week ultimatum to Sowore to delete what it termed as a false, malicious, and inciting social media post in X, posted on August 26th, insulting the president.
The president's crafting of unequal governance templates, best administrative and accounting practices have set a new standard for leadership. These templates, pay attention, shall suffice for all times and climes, serving as a model for effective governance. What about Sowore, who has consistently proved his electoral worthlessness? Sowore's ill-advised campaign of defamation, which in the past targeted ministers, the Inspector General of Police, leadership of National Assembly, revered Catholic clergymen, has now crossed the Rubicon, descending on Mr. President himself in a manner suggestive of an improperly bred child, or what we call a child without proper upbringing. Accordingly,
the Natural Oil and Gas Suppliers Association of Nigeria has threatened to embark on a strike over the Dangote Petroleum Refinery's plan to take over supply of petroleum products directly to end users. The association says that bypassing the traditional distribution chain will make suppliers and tanker drivers redundant, leading to widespread job losses and further destabilizing the oil and gas sector. Let's go outside Nigeria now and tell you that two major opposition figures in Cote d'Ivoire, former President Laurent Gbagbo and ex-Credit Suisse CEO Tidjane Thiam, have been barred from contesting next month's presidential election. The Consultation Council ruled both men ineligible, citing their removal from the electoral roll. Gbagbo, who leads the African People's Party, was excluded due to a prior criminal conviction.
Il y a lieu de relever que dans le cadre de l'examen de l'éligibilité des candidats à l'élection du président de la République, le Conseil constitutionnel a de façon constante exigé la qualité d'électeur comme condition d'éligibilité.
In Morocco, survivors of the devastating 2023 earthquake rallied in the capital Rabat, demanding urgent action from the government. Marking 2 years since the disaster that claimed nearly 3,000 lives, dozens gathered outside parliament to protest what they say is their exclusion from the National Reconstruction Program.
سنتين بالبرد القارس في فصل الشتاء والحار في فصل الصيف، وبالتالي جينا في الذكرى الثانيه باش ناكدوا الجهات الرسميه نطالبهم مجددا بتفعيل ما جاء في بلاغ الصادر عن الديوان الملكي منذ 14 سنه بسنه 2023 سنتين، ونحن نطالب بتفعيل وتنفيذ ما جاء في هذا البلاغ.
And finally, Nepal's Prime Minister has ordered an investigation into the protest over a social media ban, during which at least 19 people were killed, with the apps now restored after the violence. The information officer at a local hospital said the emergency ward was packed with those injured after the clashes. The cause of this outburst was the ban on social media sites, including Facebook, YouTube, and X, in Nepal since Friday, which left users angry and confused. And that's all we have here on Breakfast Headlines. Don't forget to join us at 12 for the 12 reports to get a fuller, much fuller news bulletin here on News Central Television. In the meantime, Breakfast Central continues. Coming up next will be the front pages of the newspapers with our analysts joining us live here in the studios, and you too can be part of it. Stay with us.
Welcome back to Breakfast Central. It's now time for us to find out what big stories are making the headlines in today's dailies across Nigeria. And joining us to analyze this is the publisher of the newspaper, Mr. Ikechukwu Amechi, one of the best ever to do this. That's all for today. Mr. Amechi, we're happy to have you join us this beautiful wet Tuesday morning. Yes.
The pleasure.
It's been raining cats and dogs in
morning, Nigerians.
Lagos.
Yeah.
Good morning.
When they say raining cats and dogs, I should actually look that
It's
up.
an idiom.
What is an idiom?
Back in Roman times,
There should
cats
be a
and dogs used
backstory.
to rain.
I will look for
That's
it.
the backstory. Trust me.
I don't trust you. I can never trust you.
So let's start with the
Gbenga needs
Punch
a reform.
newspaper. Like I know.
Overhaul. An overhaul of Gbenga Porowa.
So the screaming headline on the front page of the Punch newspaper says 2027 North rallies voters as South tops pre-registration lists. I mean, this is quite interesting and unexpected because most times we see Southerners as being laid back and the Northerners are very politically active. But it's not yet Uhuru. Let's hope this registration turns out to be, they actually come out when it's needed on the days of the polls. Osun, Lagos, Ogun lead as online pre-registration hits 3.5 million, 288,614 complete physical exercises, says the writer. Northern Governors Parties Group unveil campaigns to close widening regional voters gap. And also on the front page of the Punch newspaper, we have OPS, as the organized private sector, rejects 5% fuel surcharge. TUC threatens strike. I feel they're speaking on behalf of majority of Nigerians, and I hope they can also add that increase in the cost of getting a Nigerian passport as one of their conditions too. Because things are really tough these days. Kaduna violence, El-Rufai ADC leaders shun police invitation. And World Cup qualifier for the football fans, can Eagles fly high in Bloemfontein today as they go into a very important World Cup qualification tie with the Bafana of South Africa. I saw the pitch earlier. We will be playing at some stadium in Bloemfontein. Mr. Amechi, that pitch is like a rice paddy. It's a rice field. The South Africans put us in a field of rice. In a field of mines. Because, I mean, we have professionals that play in England, in the top clubs in the world. How do you expect them to be playing in that? I think it's deliberate.
They have wonderful pitches.
And they have, I mean, they have the FMP Stadium in Johannesburg.
They have wonderful pitches.
Held the World Cup finals. Why are we not playing there? But regardless of their tactics, and I'm like that both of you are wearing green to represent your patriotism, we will triumph over South Africa today.
Hallelujah. Amen. 2
killed in Lagos in fresh Lagos court clashes, and seized allocations. Court here, Osun's suit against the Central Bank of Nigeria. I mean, let's start off from that. We have a current president that made a lot of noise when former President Obasanjo seized allocations of Lagos State local government allocations because he created LCDAs. And now the president seems to be doing the same thing to the Osun State government. The Osun State governor tried to, pally up to him. He visited him. He even went to visit him with his famous nephew, Davido.
OBO.
But still, nothing came out of it. So now he's going, and he also endorsed him ahead of 2027, even though he belongs to a different party. But now he has seen that all those things are not working. That maybe if he went with Whiskey and Davido, he might have listened. But the bulk of the matter is the allocation to Osun State local governments is still with the CBN. It's still been seized. What do you make of this? And it's decided to go to court.
And they have transferred the case from Osogbo now to Abuja. And the state government is crying foul. Well, what do I make of it? It is still part of the impunity that is reigning supreme in the polity right now. Of course, like you rightly pointed out, when President Olusegun Obasanjo seized the local government allocations to Lagos State because then Governor Bola Ahmed Tinubu created local council development authorities, and the Obasanjo presidency thought that the issue of local government creation is a constitutional thing. We have 774 local governments recognized in the Constitution, and therefore it was unlawful for any state government to go on its own will and create additional local governments without recourse to Constitution, and seize the local government allocations. Of course, there was an outcry. Tinubu went to court, and eventually, of course, the courts could not do anything until Obasanjo left office, and under the leadership of late President Yar'Adua, may his soul rest in peace, all the money was paid back to Lagos State. Now, President Tinubu is doing the same thing to Osun State. Of course, it's a different scenario altogether. Adeleke came to office and dissolved the local governments, the leadership, which statutorily they have not completed their tenure. So in that sense, he also erred. And that's also the impunity of the governors. All of them do that. And it is not right for them to do that. Local government administration is also a constitutional issue. So if their tenure is 3 years, you don't come in, even if they were elected a day before you took office. You don't come in and whimsically and unilaterally dissolve the local governments. It's against the law. So, but that's what he did. And of course, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu had to fall back. Now he's remembering how constitutional it is not to release funds to the new local government chairman. But what is wrong is also Adeleke is alleging that behind the scene they are releasing those funds to the local government chairmen that have been sacked. And don't also not forget, that was what they also did in Rivers State. They withheld the allocation to the local government councils when the Supreme Court gave that verdict. But all those funds were released to the sole administrator, who is not known to the Constitution. So it's a whole lot of impunity going on there. And the way the Tinubu administration is going, I don't know, but we have a civilian dictatorship on our hands. And Nigerians need to decide whether this was what they asked for. There must be rule of law. Everybody must play by the rules of the game. Whether you are a local government chairman or whether you are a governor or a president, nobody should be above the law. The Constitution should be the ground norm that guides all the activities, all the actions, not only of the governments at whatever level, but of individuals. Without it, you are going to create anarchy.
Chaos.
Because everybody will be acting on his own whims and caprices, and that is not going to augur well for the country, as it were. So let us hope that now the case is in court. I don't want to say more than that, but let us hope that the courts will do the needful, and at the end of the day, we should be able to resolve this. Because local government ought to be the closest government to the people. And therefore, taking away their funds again, people may also argue that even those ones that have local governments, the state governors take away their money and give them stipends to only pay salaries at the end of the day. So there's a whole lot of things that are going wrong in terms of the way we are running this democracy. I just hope and pray that our political leaders don't push us over the edge with the way they are going.
People have started to push back from what we've seen. Let's take a call from Port Harcourt. Alhaji Mohammed is calling from Port Harcourt. Good morning, Alhaji. Thank you for calling. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much. Good morning. My name is Alhaji Hassan Mohammed Indaba. I'm calling from Port Harcourt.
Hello.
One incident too many. You know, sometimes people preach what they do not practice. This is Tinubu that was denied allocation by his own brother and our former president, Olusegun Obasanjo. During his tenure as a governor, when he created the LCDA against the rule of law, and Obasanjo said, no, you cannot bypass the National Assembly by carrying out such action. Only not 1 year I came back and alleviated the whole problem. But having said that, now you can see a situation in Osun State because we allow illegality to stand. In Rivers State, during the nature administration, there were an elected local government administrators in Rivers State. When Nyesom Wike took over, I don't know where he derived his power from. He nullified and sack all those people and nobody come at anything. We have a situation whereby in our constitution from the beginning to the end of Section 305, there's nowhere it has empowered an elected executive to sack a fellow elected executive or to sack a legislator as enshrined in the separation of power. But we've seen that play out where somebody from the top manipulated the process. Stand. We are applying to 2027 that some of us may not be even privileged to see when we are supposed to concentrate in governance and policy directions in the country. But unfortunately, the most thing that happened in our country recently now is about 2057. So I think the government should see how we can make our constitution supreme. President should know that Section 1 of the Constitution is expressly clear. Whoever that violates the provision of this Constitution shall face the wrath of the law. But unfortunately, he is doing it, others are doing it. So ultimately, it's all national whatever he feels is right for him well. Let us see what authority will say. I don't of that because it is unhealthy for our democracy. And it is an act on the people and the backline of all those who are legislative or all the president to see how it can make sense on issues or approach them to reinstate those people that legally removed by the elected. Thank you very much.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, but when the little I heard from what he said, he was basically agreeing with me. There is nowhere in the Constitution where the governors, it amounts to impunity, will come and dissolve a duly elected local government administration without their term coming to an end. So in that sense, what Adeleke did was not correct. It is also not constitutional for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to unilaterally withhold the allocations that are due to local governments. The same thing that Obasanjo did to him and which the Supreme Court ruled. So is the impunity we must protect as we move forward. The way elected officials of the state, both at the federal and state levels, the way they are behaving as if there is no ground norm, as if there is no constitutional, there's no constitution that ought to dictate their actions, it will not take us to any good spot.
Okay, let's take the conversation to a different paper and look at the Nigerian Tribune this time. The big story on the Nigerian Tribune: proposed 5% tax on petroleum products. TUC threatens strike, describes policy as economic wickedness.
I agree with that. I endorse it.
We have 2025 UTME JAM Committee uncovers 4,251 cases of finger blends, 190 cases of AI-assisted cheats.
It would be nice to get details of that.
1,878 candidates impersonate albinos. Wait, I
really don't understand what's going
Okay,
on.
let's take a call from Chidi.
Yes.
Maybe we can
And
get a
then we'll
clearer
look
picture there.
into that.
All right. We have Chidi calling from Imo State. Good morning, Chidi.
Good morning.
Yes, please go ahead.
Good morning. Good morning. I am Chief Chidi Popper. I am calling from Oworoshoki. God bless you abundantly. You know that quite a number of things happen in Nigeria, and you start wondering where we are really heading to. One very funny thing about our nation is that it's just like somebody fighting with the deaf and dumb. If you talk, the deaf won't hear you. And when the deaf talks the way they talk, you won't understand them. It's a terrible thing when things happen and we never care to learn from history. These are things that have continuously happened, and nobody cares, nobody wants to learn, and we just keep repeating issues over and over and hoping that we'll get a new result. It can never work. Why would anybody seize money accruing to the local government for whatever reason? In all honesty, Nigeria will change the day we decide to look inwards, plan, and then get results in the future. Nobody builds on nothing. It will never work. Nigeria is great, but the way we are toying with this nation, it doesn't give anybody that element of either trust or confidence. Are we really thinking about tomorrow? What about the younger ones coming up? What is really happening? And the funny thing is that when anybody kicks against any particular policy, it will look as if you are kicking against the government. No. We are really talking about what will profit everybody. I appreciate your views this morning, but the important thing is, if anybody listening, if there are people listening, are they prepared to actually understand what you are saying? If they understand what you are saying, are they prepared to actually act in consonance with the thought? These are issues. Nigeria may never get out of what we are passing through now, except there is spirited effort by virtually everybody to move forward. And that's my take this morning.
All right, thank you.
God bless Nigeria and God bless our citizens.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chidi, for sharing your thoughts with us. Okay, just to quickly touch on the JAM story, 2025 UTME JAM, what they were talking about when they said finger blending was apparently the tactic of people writing expo on their fingers or in short notes and hiding it somewhere. So there's been increased case of that. Jay Kepele is the chairman of that committee.
Yeah, he should be here with us.
Yeah, broad network of facilitators. He said there are several, weak legal frameworks that have hampered enforcement, but maybe we'll come back to that. Motorists lament state of Ibadan Ijebu Ode Road. 3 simple measures that reduce diabetes risk by 31%. You can check that out. Local government funds, fireworks at Abuja Court, as Osun government says. AGF not ready to obey court orders. Governor Okpero Arowolo implements unprecedented reforms in Edo civil service. We'll come to those.
Is this
reforms.
a paid advert?
We need to check. Then strike threat. Federal government meets with Nupeng, NLC, TUC, Pengasan threaten to join strike. You see how they want to put us inside one chance on top of the strike matter. So Pengasan and Nupeng are saying that Dangote is trying to discourage unionism. He's saying that the new tanker drivers that he's going to employ must not sign, they will sign contracts that say they can't join any other union but the union that Dangote Refinery will form. And Pengasan said, lie, over our living body.
Dangote Refinery Staff Club Union.
Well, their one is, I'll double check, I've forgotten the name of their own drivers, something.
The crux of the matter is you and I are about to suffer because two elephants are fighting. And we're the grass in this situation. So what would you propose as the right way out? Pengasan, we spoke to a representative of Pengasan, the Secretary General, this morning. And he said, you know, they're doing it for the welfare of their staff and the greater good condition of service, welfare, their package. And, you know, if Nigerians suffer for 1 or 2 days, it's for the benefit of the
mass
greater
benefit.
good.
They suffer now and enjoy later.
Yes.
So
Well, we've had that over and over again. Of course, that is the same promise that President Tinubu made to all of us, that we should suffer now, so that.
But even in this suffering now, they are still adding
we will enjoy
a little bit, 5% of sufferness here and there.
We will enjoy a paradise tomorrow. But look, on a serious note, I think the issue between Dangote refineries and the trade unions, Nupeng and of course Pengasan, is a chicken and egg kind of thing. You don't even know which came first and who to really blame in this issue. Dangote, if he goes ahead with what he plans to do, is going to establish a monopoly in the oil industry.
But is this his fault?
And that's why I'm saying it's a chicken and egg kind of thing. And then I said you really find it difficult to apportion blames in this. Is it his fault? No. If the government did what it was supposed to do, an NPC has 4 refineries that took trillions of naira in the name of turnaround maintenance, which, as we speak, they still remain moribund. Now, a private citizen committed $20 billion of his hard-earned money to establish what is being touted as one of the biggest, if not the biggest refinery in the whole world, 650,000 liters in capacity. I don't know, every day. So that money is there. At least in the last 1 year since that refinery came on stream, the issue of fuel scarcity has almost become a thing of the past. In fact, the man is now exporting locally refined petrol to US, which is unprecedented.
Never happened before.
Which is unprecedented. And now he is saying that he's going to import 10,000 CNG-powered trucks to lift petroleum products to all the nooks and crannies of the country.
For free.
And that is where Nupeng comes in. They are kicking. I understand that all the trucks that...
I think it's about 4,000.
Nupeng, about 2,000.
Nupeng has 2,000 trucks.
What is
Yes.
importing 4,000?
4,000, yes.
Okay,
And
okay, 4,000.
CNG, which is going to cost less, way less than diesel-powered trucks that Nupeng has.
Exactly. So, is Nupeng really fighting for Nigerians as they claim?
Which is what I asked their
You
representative.
ask that question, and how?
Okay.
Or are they fighting for the check-off dues?
And do the truck drivers represent?
And or are they fighting for
Generality of
the
Nigeria.
check-off dues that they get from their members, which of course they are not going to get if this
Another angle.
No take-off dues. No, that's what I said. Yeah.
truck drivers, if they are not part of Nupeng. So many people, SAN, Femi Falana, talked about Section 40 of the Nigerian Constitution, of course, which talks about freedom of association. Again, yes, why that is true, Dangote has not stopped anybody, but they are saying this is where we are. They have formed truck drivers association, or whatever they call them, of Nigeria, DTAN. So it's a chicken and egg kind of thing, but Nupeng, I think they should stop holding Nigerians by the jugular. This issue of strike and no strike. And Nigerians are becoming wary of all these things. The strike started yesterday, but if you look at it, if it were before, the whole place would have been grounded by now.
You know what?
You won't drive to any filling station and get fuel. But people are no longer positively responding to the issue of threats from this.
We're having strike fatigue.
If you call it that, yes. But the NLC, I think, has lost what it used to have before, because people are not seeing them as those who are fighting for the cause of the masses any longer.
Okay, I mean, you talked about the Direct Trucking Company Drivers Association that's been established by Dangote Refinery and his cousin Dantata. And the question is there a way that they can work with Nupeng? And a valid question, are they really fighting for these, are they really fighting for Nigerians, or are they fighting for their own personal interests? You know, that's another key question to ask. They've been, there's supposed to be a meeting. There was a meeting yesterday. The meeting ended in a deadlock. So there's supposed to be another one. How do you foresee this happening? I've seen different analyses. There are people who say, look, Nupeng cannot win this war. The sooner they find a middle ground, the better, because the truth is, Dangote is importing the petrol. Dangote has the logistics. Dangote, basically, he's incurring less expenses. His trucks are diesel powered, so he's going to pay less. He will do door-to-door delivery. So at the end of the day, who stands to lose? And the truck drivers that Nupeng claims they are fighting for, are these truck drivers aware? Are they in support of it?
If an NPC could not defeat Dangote, I don't see how Nupeng is going to do that. In any case, how are they going to do that? The man is importing 4,000 CNG trucks. So,
which is double the amount of trucks you will have.
Even if you go on strike, it won't affect anything. It won't affect anything, because they already have their own trucks with which they are going to distribute. So I don't see how they are going to win. I think they should go to...
I mean, they can physically block the roads, they can obstruct, you know...
But the government will now... It will be anarchy, and the government will now have to come in one way or the other. And I'm not too sure that the Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration will side Nupeng.
But what are the dangers of leaving such a critical national infrastructure in private hands? Distribution of oil products, and also the availability of it. Like you rightly said, the current refineries are moribund. We're hardly producing anything. And we've been saving a lot of forex from importation of refined petrol products. So far, so good. It's been, we're in the honeymoon phase, but Gbenga, things change.
That is what
what are the dangers for us?
That is what I said earlier, which prompted the question from Olive. Do you blame Dangote? And I said no. But the truth of the matter is that we are in a full-blown monopoly in the oil industry. Dangote, in all his businesses, you rarely get the competition. In the cement, this thing, so we are in another era of monopoly, and you know what happens in monopoly. But do you blame him? No, we blame the irresponsibility of the Nigerian state.
He should do masterclass for them and teach them on how to run business.
We blame the irresponsibility of the Nigerian state that has refused to do what they ought to do. How on earth is it that an NPC cannot manage 4 refineries?
Over decades.
Petrobras is there doing wonders in Brazil.
Petronas in Malaysia.
That of Malaysia, Saudi, all these people are doing well. How is it that it is only NNPC that cannot? And you see the scandal that has been coming out since the former Mele Kyari left office. These guys scammed Nigerians. They took everybody for granted. Took even
members of the press,
everybody, to Port Harcourt and said that the Port Harcourt refinery is now working full steam. Where are we now?
That guy with a jerry can or bottle.
Where are we now?
Yes.
So you don't blame Dangote. If the government did what they are supposed to do, and they still have opportunity to do what they are supposed to do, because we still have the 4 refineries, and nothing stops the government. If only one man could set up a $20 billion refinery, what of the government? Okay, you have removed fuel subsidy. Why don't you use part of the money that you have raised from the removal of fuel subsidy and say, even if it is 1 refinery,
let's do it.
And say, okay, let us build 1 refinery, so that there will be competition, so that Dangote does not go into a monopoly and control both the upstream and downstream sector of the petroleum industry. So you don't blame him. He's a businessman, and he's there to maximize profit at the end of the day.
He's not running a charity. Dangote Refinery is not for the less privileged.
A charity. When people were shouting and jumping up and down before Dangote came into operation, if Dangote Refinery comes,
everything, all our problems will be over.
The fuel price will come down to 200 naira. I was laughing. I said, how? But this man is in business to make money.
He's a capitalist.
He's in business now to make money. So there is no way he's going to run a Father Christmas, a charity organization. You don't set up a $20 billion business and use it now to massage the ego of those in political office who have refused to do what they ought to do. It is not Dangote that is going to bring down the price of this thing to promote the cause of the administration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He is in there to make money. If the government desires to help, they should set up their own refinery and create competition, which can now drive down the price.
There's been talks on privatization or the NLNG model, that is 5149, as proposed by the Secretary General of Pengerson this morning. What do you make of it? Because it's not working, and prayers are not working for the refineries. So
whatever,
do we sell it?
They pray for the refinery.
Or do we do an LNG model?
If you listen to what former President Olusegun Obasanjo said earlier, he said selling those refineries, in fact, trying to revive them, was a waste of time, because that it wasn't going to work. And I interviewed somebody some time ago, Dr. Omar Elas, who also made the same point, that the Port Harcourt refinery and all those refineries, they don't have the capacity to produce petroleum products, refined products, the way they ought to be. They can't match Dangote.
Yeah.
So
refinery.
if it means setting up new refineries, I don't know what is going to be done with the old ones, but I think the technology they have there is almost moribund. Can we go ahead and establish new refineries? Fortunately, I think they said BUA is looking into coming into the business. If he comes into the business,
that's another monopoly, eh?
Well,
no, it will be a duopoly.
The more the merrier.
The more the merrier.
Because and they granted licenses to over 60 people to engage in refineries. Where are the other 59
I know our time is up, but my question, just like we asked the Pengasin National Secretary when he came here, why is it that Nupeng, Pengasin, Petro and Ipman have not gone on a strike since these 4 refineries were not working? They've not gone on a strike to say, listen, our members are not going to get paid. They're going to be short-staffed.
For national interest.
They're not going to get jobs. For national interest, we must work.
And then there's the 5%
when
fuel
Dangote
tax.
just did one thing, no, all of us were striking. Why didn't you go on strike on
there's
the
a
one
5% fuel tax that we haven't talked about as well.
Because and that buttresses the point. Are they really fighting for Nigerians, or are they fighting for their own pockets?
They will argue that the people they are fighting for are Nigerians.
The take-off dues they are getting, living fat on the suffering of Nigerians. You know, and that's why when they call for strike these days, nobody listens, because Nigerians are tired. Nobody is fighting for their interests. People are fighting for their own personal interests and camouflaging it as national interests. No. Where is the interest of the common man in all this?
And that's
what are we benefiting from all this? Like you said, a 5% petroleum tax is going to be introduced. Perhaps
that would affect all Nigerians
next year. And if you buy what it means that if you buy a 10,000 worth of fuel, you're going to pay extra 500 naira.
All right, we have to go now.
And look at the multiple effects it is going to have on everything.
Everything, transport, food, and all that.
On everything. It
we'll
means
continue this.
Inflation will continue. It then means poverty will continue. It then means Nigerians will continue to plumb the depths of misery.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Ikechukwu Amechi, for joining us. Thank you to our audience. We'll continue this conversation tomorrow. Not the sweetest way to end the show, but I mean, a very important conversation.
Super Eagles are playing today.
That's why we're
green. Please, in the land of Nelson Mandela, make us proud, please. I mean, let's have something
Congratulations
to cheer about.
ahead. We're starting the show with celebration tomorrow. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And the ayes have it. We'll see you tomorrow.
See you.